Good morning, class. This is Tim Tomlanovich. Welcome to Intro to Civil again. What we're doing, I'm going to lecture on Learning Plan 4 about ethics. Okay, so Introduction to Professional Ethics. Okay, what are ethics? So here's some definitions from the dictionaries. Principles of conduct governing an individual or a group. Motivation based on ideas of right and wrong. So depending how we all grow up, how we were raised, what religion, what country, our ethics, everybody's ethics are a little bit differently. So, so that's what ethics are, morals. Okay. All right. Studies of what we ought to do and how we ought to behave based on a moral viewpoint. Okay. So if everybody says there's bad morals, right? But is that necessarily ethical based on your morals? Okay. Again, it's how we were raised, what religion, what country. Okay. Versus what we ought to do and how we ought to behave based on economical, religious, political, or prudential viewpoint. Okay. So this is important. So studies of what we ought to do. Okay. So the difference between the two. All right. Why are ethics important? It forms the foundation of your belief system. Okay. Everything we do is ethical. So, for example, is it ethical to go through a red stoplight? So the chances are that you could possibly run into somebody, cause an accident, and kill somebody. So is that ethical? The answer is no. Okay. It governs how we treat others. It is the basis of your decision-making process and how you react in various situations. Because of its societal value, ethics is revered by others and held in high esteem. Okay? High esteem. So that's why ethics are important. All right. So, okay. As professionals, our work is restricted by society such that only those having the training and licensure may perform it. So me, I am a professional registered civil engineer in the state of Wisconsin and the state of Michigan. Okay. So ethically, I've been trained through it. I've been through schooling. I've been through the testing, and I have my experience. So I am ethically, I'm able to do it. So you do not want to be non-ethical and practice civil engineering without the proper training. In return, professionals are required to perform their work in high ethical standards. Okay. So in ethics, high ethical standards. So as engineers, the last thing we want to do is make a mistake, and our mistake causes a death of somebody. So that's high ethical standards. Okay. So that's the biggest fear right there. All right. Okay, challenges to ethics. Competitive and global market. Okay, nature of engineering is unpredictable. Proliferation of litigation, decreased organizational loyalty, decreased mentoring, and technological advances. Okay, so decreased mentoring is a big thing. Okay, so your supervisor should train and mentor you. Okay, however, if your supervisor is not ethical, are you going to be ethical? That's a very good question, right? Okay, decrease organizational loyalty. So everybody needs to make money. Okay, so we don't want to put profits in front of ethics. Okay, especially when it comes to human lives. Litigation. Everybody seems to be suing for everything these days. Okay, and then technology. Okay, we got to stay up to speed, up to date on our technology. So that's why professional land surveyors and professional engineers have to get continuing education credits. So many amount, 20, I think it's 20 for surveyors and 30 for professional engineers every 2 years, so we can maintain our PE license, so we stay up with technological advancements. All right, answers to ethics questions. The right course of action is usually clear when it is between good and evil. Will this kill somebody? Will it not kill somebody? Right? It's an easy decision. Which way do I go? Sometimes there are several right answers to ethics issues. Sometimes there are no right answers. But like engineering design problems, there is a personal best answer. So this is when legal counsel comes into play when we're talking about this. Okay, When it comes to life or death, obviously that's an easy answer. But we got, if you're starting to border on, is it ethic or is it not ethical? That's a tough question. So you don't want to be. It's tough when you're put in that situation. I am sure you can think about several ethical situations you've been put in your life that have not been related to engineering, but just on ordinary life things. Okay. It is not unusual for engineers and technicians to find themselves forced to choose between competing interests rather than between good and evil. Okay. Are we doing the right thing or are we doing it in the interest of the company? Okay. All right. So where can we get guidance? Where can we get guidance? Rules of professional conduct, codes of ethics, American Society of Civil Engineers, National Society of Professional Engineers. Okay, so that's where we can get our ethics. So there are codes that we get our ethics from. Okay, rules of professional conduct. Okay, expectations of the company. Every company has a employee handbook. I have an employee handbook working at NWTC. I'm sure you have an employee handbook. That is an ethical professional conduct. You need to follow those. If you don't follow those, you will no longer be working there. Okay. Licensing boards, the state of Wisconsin holds, or state of Michigan, every state has their own licensing board for professional engineers, architects, surveyors, plumbers, okay, electricians. Professional societies like American Society of Civil Engineers, National Society of Professional Surveyors, and then technical societies like ASTM, American Standards of Testing and Materials, ACI, American Concrete Institute. Okay, so these help guide us in the rules of professional conduct. All right, history of Code of Ethics. The codification of ethics has been taken many forms, from the Ten Commandments to the Doctrine of Socrates to the Code of Hammurabi to the American Constitution to the Golden Rule to the ASCE Code of Ethics. So as we've gone through time, we have changed many forms. There's many forms of ethics. So those are all codes of ethics. I like this one, Code of Hammurabi. If a builder has not built a house for a man and has not made his work sound, and the house which he has built has fallen down and so caused the death of the householder, that builder shall be put to death. Can you imagine that if that happened nowadays? It'd really make you want to stay ethical, wouldn't it? Middle Ages, professional guilds ruled commerce, blacksmiths, carpenters, right? Ethics in business. Served as de facto codes of conduct for professional behavior for members, clarified duties for job preservation. Okay, so in the Middle Ages, if you think about that, you had your carpenters, you had your your bakers, you had the iron workers, the carpenters, farmers. Those all created ethical business standards. All right, mid 1700s, John Smeaton. So the history of Code of Ethics in Engineering. John Smeaton defined civil engineer as any engineer not engaged in military works. George Washington's work on the Potomac Canal defined him as a civil engineer. Potomac, civil engineer, okay? Because it was not related to military works. So ASCE Code of Ethics, modified as needed to the profession, recognition of responsibility to the environment incorporated. So things have changed lately, okay? The ASCE Code of Ethics is focused on three constituencies: the public, the client and employer, and licensed civil engineers, in these order. Okay? The public is number one, the client and employer is number two, licensed civil engineers is number three. Okay? So we're going to focus our conversation on ASCE, American Society of Civil Engineers Code of Ethics. What do we need to follow? All right, so there are four fundamental principles of the ASCE Code of Ethics, and we'll review this in a second. There's 8 canons, criterion by which each principle is gauged. And then there's guidelines for professional conduct for use in the day-to-day conduct of engineers, professional and business related affairs. So let's go to that. So fundamental principles. So this is last updated in 2017. So here are the 4 fundamental principles: using their knowledge and skill for the enhancement of human welfare and the environment, being honest and impartial and serving with fidelity the public, their employees and clients, striving to increase the competence and prestige of the engineering profession, and supporting the professional and technical societies of their disciplines. Okay, so that's the fundamental principles of the ASCE Code of Ethics. Now, if we scroll down here, we have 8 fundamental canons. Number 1 is the biggie. They're not necessarily, they're all important just because number 1 is on top. Yes, it is important, but doesn't mean number 8 is the least important. Okay. Engineers shall hold paramount the safety, health, and welfare of the public and shall strive to comply with principles of sustainable development in the performance of their professional duties. Okay, so as you read through these fundamental canons, all the way down to the bottom, engineers shall in all manners relate to their profession, treat all persons fairly, and encourage equitable participation without regard to gender or gender identity, race, national origin, ethnicity, religion, age, sexual orientation, disability, political affiliation, or family, marital, and economic status. So as you can see, it covers quite a variety of, the canons cover a variety of issues here. Okay, so from the canons, each canon, so here's canon 1, it actually has subsets, letters here, and it actually goes even into more details of how to follow that canon. Okay, see, so there's canon 2, canon 3, canon 4, canon 5, all 8 canons. So you can see there's quite a bit of information going on in this. Okay, so that's how the ASCE Code of Ethics is done. Okay, guidelines for professional conduct. What is that for? That is right here. These are the guidelines for professional conduct. Okay, so this is right on the ASCE website. Okay, so these are the professional conduct. The 8 canons are here, and then here's are the guidelines for professional conduct. Okay. All right, ASCE Code of Ethics. The first canon code of ethics: engineers shall hold to paramount the safety, health, and welfare of public, and shall strive to comply with the principles of sustainable development in the performance of their professional duties. Okay, so that's safety first. The remaining 7 canons amplify the importance of Canon 1 and further describe a professional engineer's responsibility not only to the public, but also to his or her clients, employers, and other members of the engineering profession. Okay, when ethics get gray, what do we do when we don't have that easily right or wrong answer? And ask these questions for yourself. Behavior that is ethically required is not always easy to determine. Compromise may be a tool for negotiation, but ethics should not be compromised. So what do we do when we can't find a really black or white answer? Answer the following questions. Harm tests. Does this option do less harm than the alternatives? Yes or no? Publicity tests. Would I want my choice of this option published in the newspaper or on 60 Minutes? Would I want my grandma to know? That's a very good question, right? You don't want to be on the news. Defensibility test. Could I defend this choice of option before a committee of peers or a congressional committee without appearing self-serving? Reversibility test. Would I still think this choice of option was good if it were applied to me instead of others, especially if some of the effects are adverse? Colleague test. What might my profession's governing board or ethics committee say about this option? Organization tests. What does my organization's ethics officer or legal counsel say about this? Okay, so you got to answer yourself a lot of questions. I've been a professional engineer for a long time, so how I look at this, you want to go to bed knowing you can sleep soundly, knowing you did the best work you could do, and knowing the decisions you made has not caused anybody harm or is unethical, then you can sleep well. And then there's the virtue test. Would a virtuous person do this? What kind of person does this? What kind of person would I become if I did this kind of thing all the time? Right? So you got to answer these questions. So ethics is like those people who you hang out with in school when you create friends. You've had those friends that I don't like what kind of stuff they're doing, right? So you kind of not hang out with that person. So that's all ethics. That's based on your morals and ethics, right? I don't agree with what that person is. I don't think he's ethical. So are you going to hang out with them? Probably not. All right. So disciplinary action. State engineering boards have enacted laws for engineers. So Wisconsin Administrative Code, chapters AE1 to AE13, rules the examining board of architects, landscape architects, professional engineers, designers, and land surveyors. Oh, this is where our rules, what we follow, right there. And then Chapter 443 of the Wisconsin State Legislature was created to regulate the practice of surveying and engineering in the state of Wisconsin. Okay, so there's the Wisconsin Administrative Code, basically, and Chapter 443 of the Wisconsin State Legislature statutes, right, guide us for what we can do and what we cannot do. Okay, I love this Dilbert comic. Okay. Our new vice president of ethics will help you decide what's right and wrong. When we talk to him, what customer's project should we charge for our time? Whichever one we hate the most. So when you get in industry, you always have to be worried about being billable. So you're always wondering where you're charging time. So I thought that is cute. So typically we would do a case study in class. So instead, I'm going to go right into the assignment. So and I'll go through what I'm expecting of the assignment. Okay, and then I will post this in Blackboard. All right, so let's look at your assignment. And where are we? Okay, LP4. Okay, here we go. The purpose of this assignment is for you to be able to define and comprehend engineering ethics and professional standards. Inevitably, application of these involves some uncertainty in making difficult moral judgments. The write-up and discussion require that you clearly express, justify your views with professional ethical codes as well as your own values in mind. You're encouraged to discuss the assignment in cases with other students. However, your written work must be your own. Any evidence of copy will be considered an NWTC personal and professional honesty violation. There are a number of websites devoted to engineering ethics prior to an assignment that are required for you to complete it. All right. So basically, there is no right or wrong answer. Everybody's opinions can be different. As long as you follow the format of this assignment, everybody should get 100%. Okay. So basically, what you're going to do, you're going to do a write-up in Microsoft Word. Overall format, you're going to put your name and page numbers on each page of your write-up. The write-up should be typed and free of spelling, grammatical errors. List each case study and type out each question. Okay, so it says list each case study. All right, these are case studies. Okay, use of CD-ROM for highway design. You do not have to write the description of the case study. So you're going to write use of CD-ROM for highway design. Okay, and then here are the questions, and then underneath the questions, you're going to answer the question. Okay, so that's what that means. List each case study and type out each question. You do not have to rewrite out the whole case study. Okay, all right, part one, learning professional norms of ethical behavior. So you want to visit the Code of Ethics, the AAC Code of Ethics. You'll use these codes to justify your arguments in the following ethical case studies. Okay, so you can go to the website or I have it attached in Blackboard. All right, so now engineering ethics cases. Below are ethics cases from Online Ethics Center for Engineering and Science relevant to civil engineering. Read all the cases just to familiarize with them. Select any three of the cases below and answer all the questions posed for each of the cases you select. Okay. All right. So you select three of the case studies. There's 6 in here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? And there's questions after it, and there's point values, okay? So pick any 3 of the 6, which you feel you'd like to talk about, all right? Okay, once lists the case study, type each question posed in the case study and provide a full response following the question, all right? Refer to specific relevant portions of the ASCE Code of Ethics to support your answers for each question. Cite and discuss as many relevant guidelines as you think apply with the canon and guideline letter, for example, per ASCE Code of Ethics 1D to support your answer of each question. The answers for each case study should be total about a third to a half page long. Now, I'm telling you right now, I don't care if it's single space, double space, use 12-point font, double space is fine, okay? I am looking for a thorough answer here. I'm not gonna dock you because you only have a quarter of a page, but you answered all of these questions, and it's a really good discussion. Okay. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for. All right. So to do this, each case studies. Okay. So for example, you're gonna write use of CD-ROM for highway design. Alexis is a chemical engineer with no facilities design and construction experience. She receives a solicitation in the mail for a new highway design CD-ROM. This program allows engineers to do highway design even if they know little or no fundamental concepts in this area. Okay, so say I select this one. I'm going to write case study 1, use of CD-ROM for highway design. I'm going to write this question down right below that. Should Alexis order the CD-ROM and begin to offer facility design and construction services? Okay, you're going to answer that yes or no and why. Okay, now why? If you think it's no or you think it's yes, why can they do that? So what I'm going to do is, what you're going to do is you're going to start. This will help you. You're going to start with the fundamental canons. Okay. Right here, number 2. Engineers shall perform services only in areas of their competence. Okay, so this person does not have the competence in that. So I would say no, due to ASCE Fundamental Canon number 2, engineers shall perform services in all areas of their competence. So you're going to make sure you reference that and put that in quotations, right? So then I want you to go further. So depending on how further you go to, so I go, much detail you go, the better your grade. So I go to engineer Canon 2. So then I'm going to say, engineers shall only when qualified by education or experience in a technical field of engineering involved. So I'm going to say Canon 2A is, I'm answering that because that's why I feel they cannot use that CD-ROM to offer those professional services due to Canon 2A, which states this. Okay, so that's what I'm expecting when I'm looking for an answer. No, I don't think that she should be offering, design and construction services due to ASCE Canon 2, which is this, quotation marks, and Canon 2A, which is this, quotation marks. That is, to me, is a fully a good answer. All right, and then what would you have done in the case based on your own moral and society values and beliefs? So then you answer that. So this is your own opinion question. Okay, write it out. Okay, so if you look, okay, so I don't care where you reference code of ethics, if it's in the first question, second question. I recommend the better your grade if you relate the code of ethics in all the questions that you have to answer. But that's the point of this. You write down the question, you answer the question, and then, well, is it okay based on ASCE Code of Ethics? Okay, so that's the first part of the assignment. So we're doing 3 of those case studies. Okay, so there's more. All right, here's the case studies. Here's an example write-up. Look at that. Okay, this will help you. Okay, I'm looking for quality, not quantity in this assignment. All right, part 3, academic ethics. read a discussion on cheating from this website, and then I want you to go through your student handbook and understand um, the cheating policy, NWTC, and I want you to relate them to the ASCE canon guidelines. Okay, what ASCE canon is the same as cheating? Okay, I want you to compare those two. Okay, so that's what I'm asking you to do here for part 3, academic ethics. So basically, cite 3 specific instances of similarities of the NWTC academic dishonesty and the supporting ASCE canon guideline. Similarities. Okay? So that's what I wanted. This is kind of interesting. You'll say, okay, how does that relate to ASCE? Using this. Okay, so you can go look at the student handbook, look at the ASCE, and you can find 3 similarities. Okay, that's 20 points. The last part is part 4. Okay, is the academic integrity certificate. You are going to write, I, Tim Tomlanovich, certify I have worked on this. Okay, and write this out. All right, then what you're going to do is once you proofread your assignment, you're going to print it out, you're going to actually sign it and date it, and then you're going to turn it into a PDF and then attach it in a Blackboard under Learning Plan 9 or Lesson Plan 9. Learning Plan, Lesson Plan, I interchange those terms. Okay? So that's what you need to do. Again, part 4 is just literally typing this out, putting your name right there, signing it and dating it, and then you're going to scan it and turn it into a PDF using the right file names and insert it into Learning Plan 9. Okay? So don't make sure you read through the whole thing. So where does that get submitted in Blackboard? Let's go to Blackboard. Okay, lecture materials, Learning Plan 4. Here's the ASCE Code of Ethics. Here's where the assignment is. This is where I submit it. Browse computer, right? Your OneDrive, and then there you go. So there, I actually have a rubric here. Look at the rubric. Okay, formatting and grammar, case study 1, case study 2, case study 3, academic ethics, academic integrity certification. So, right, there's all the parts. So I'm going to see how you did, and I'm going to score appropriately. Okay, so with that, this ends this recording, and hopefully you will complete the assignment. And please contact me if you have any questions.